Level 1. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Meryl Streep, the greatest actress of her generation with 3 Oscars and 21 nominations, decided to appear in a sequel where she plays a singing ghost. Not metaphorically, literally a ghost woman who appears to bless her granddaughter while performing ABBA songs. This movie exists because it makes people happy, not because it needs to exist. And that's fine if you're looking for pure escapism wrapped in ABBA's greatest hits. The first Mamma Mia was already a guilty pleasure musical where nobody could actually sing, but at least it had the novelty of watching A-list actors massacre ABBA classics. The sequel doubles down on everything while removing Meryl's central presence. She appears for maybe 10 minutes total, mostly as a sparkling apparition who shows up to remind everyone that ABBA songs exist and she's still getting paid millions to be there. The film is aggressively cheerful, color-saturated joy where every problem is solved by singing. For some people, that's exactly what they want from movies. But for those tracking Meryl Streep's filmography, this represents her at her most checked out, present in body, collecting checks while her reputation does all the heavy lifting. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is the worst Meryl Streep movie, not because it's offensively bad, but because it's the clearest evidence that even legends phone it in sometimes. Level 2. The Iron Lady. Meryl won her 3rd Oscar for playing Margaret Thatcher, and the Academy mistook impressive impersonation for great filmmaking. The Iron Lady reduces one of the most controversial political figures of the 20th century into a sanitized tale about a strong woman dealing with dementia. It refuses to engage with Thatcher's actual policies, the miners' strikes, the Falklands War, the economic devastation, in favor of focusing on her as a lonely old woman haunted by memories. Meryl does incredible accent work and physical transformation, performing in a movie that has nothing interesting to say about its subject. The film won her an Oscar purely because the Academy loves accents, transformations, and historical figures. The actual film is forgettable, the politics are simplified to meaninglessness, and the whole project feels designed to win awards rather than explore who Margaret Thatcher actually was. Meryl deserved better material for her 3rd Oscar win, in my opinion. Level 3. Florence Foster Jenkins. Meryl plays a wealthy socialite in 1940s New York who loves opera despite being unable to sing in tune. The film asks, is it cruel to tell someone their dream is impossible? And answers by being aggressively nice for 2 hours. Here's what's clever about it. Florence Foster Jenkins flatters the audience for being kind. It tells viewers that supporting someone's delusions out of love makes you a good person, which is easier to watch than confronting the uncomfortable truth that sometimes kindness enables rather than helps. Hollywood loves these talentless but passionate stories because they validate participation over excellence. The message is, effort matters more than skill, which sounds inspirational until you realize it's the artistic equivalent of everyone getting a trophy. Meryl commits to bad singing, which requires actual skill to sing poorly on purpose. Hugh Grant plays her husband, who enables her delusions out of love or manipulation, depending on how charitable you're feeling. Florence Foster Jenkins is comfort food cinema that's scared of being mean or interesting. It doesn't interrogate its premise, doesn't challenge the audience, and exists as a pleasant background noise for people who want to see Meryl in nice costumes. It's not offensively bad, it's just aggressively mediocre in ways that waste everyone's talent. Before we hit level 4, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're about to meet the Meryl Streep performances that actually justify calling her the greatest actress alive. Level 4. August, Osage County. Meryl plays Violet Weston, the pill-addicted matriarch of a dysfunctional Oklahoma family in this adaptation of Tracy Letts' Pulitzer Prize-winning play. The film assembles an incredible cast: Julia Roberts, Chris Cooper, Juliette Lewis, Benedict Cumberbatch, and lets them scream at each other for 2 hours in the oppressive heat of Middle America. Meryl fully commits to making Violent as nasty and cruel as the material requires. The problem is that stage plays don't always translate to screen effectively, and August, Osage County feels like film theater rather than actual cinema. Director John Wells doesn't find a visual language that justifies adapting this to film. We're just watching great actors perform great writing without the cinematic craft to elevate it beyond what you'd see on stage. Meryl is excellent, playing a woman whose bitterness has calcified into weapon-grade cruelty, but excellent performance trapped in adequate filmmaking. The dinner scene where secrets explode and family wounds get torn open is acting showcase material. Meryl and Roberts go nuclear on each other with dialogue sharp enough to draw blood, but the film peaks there and spends the rest remaining runtime dealing with aftermath that feels anticlimactic. August Osage County is good, really good in moments, but it never becomes the masterpiece it's clearly trying to be. Level 5. The Devil Wears Prada. Meryl plays Miranda Priestley, the editor-in-chief of a fashion magazine who terrorizes her staff through icy precision and impossible standards. This role turned Meryl into a meme before memes dominated culture. That's all became shorthand for dismissive authority. The cerulean sweater monologue became film school material for how to deliver exposition that doubles as character assassination. Meryl made Miranda terrifying and human simultaneously. The film is a mainstream comedy drama that could have been forgettable fluff about the fashion industry. Instead, it became a cultural touchstone because Meryl elevated every scene she's in. She makes Miranda's cruelty understandable without making it forgivable. You see the intelligence, the perfectionism, the decades of fighting to reach the top in an industry that chews people up. Miranda is the villain, but Meryl makes her the most interesting person in every room. The Devil Wears Prada showcases Meryl's ability to dominate a film through pure charisma and craft. She's not doing showy accent work or physical transformation. She's creating a fully realized human through voice, posture, and timing. Miranda Priestley joined the pantheon of iconic strip characters because Meryl understood the assignment and delivered something that transcended the material. Level 6. Kramer vs. Kramer. Meryl's first Oscar came from playing Joanna Kramer, a woman who abandons her husband and young son before returning to fight for custody. This was 1979, and the film tackled divorce, custody battles, and women's liberation with nuance that most modern films struggle to match. Meryl has limited screen time, but creates a character complex enough to anchor the entire emotional conflict. Dustin Hoffman is technically the lead as Ted Kramer, learning to be a single father, but Meryl's performance in the custody hearing scene is so powerful it retroactively justifies everything that came before. She makes Joanna's decision to leave understandable without excusing it. The film doesn't let her off easy, but Meryl ensures you see the trapped person making impossible choices rather than just the mother who abandoned her child. Kramer vs. Kramer works because both parents are right and wrong simultaneously. Meryl brings depth to a character that could have easily been reduced to a villain or a victim. She won the Oscar despite minimal screen time because every moment she is on screen is essential. Loaded with emotion and subtext, this is Meryl at 29 announcing she was going to dominate cinema for the next 5 decades. Level 7. Sophie's Choice. Meryl plays Sophie Zawatowski, a Polish Catholic survivor of Auschwitz living in Brooklyn, haunted by a decision forced upon her at the concentration camp. The choice, referenced in the title, is one of cinema's most devastating moments. A Nazi officer forces Sophie to choose which of her 2 children lives and which dies. Meryl builds the entire performance towards that flashback, making every earlier scene resonate with unspoken trauma. The accent work alone is legendary. Meryl learned Polish and German to make Sophie's multilingual reality authentic, but the accent is just a foundation. Meryl creates a woman who survives something unsurvivable and is slowly collapsing under the weight of that survival. Sophie drinks, lies, makes terrible relationship choices, anything to avoid confronting what she endured. Meryl shows you someone who's already dead inside trying desperately to pretend she's alive. The reveal of Sophie's Choice is devastating because Meryl has spent 2 hours showing you someone barely holding it together without explaining why. When the flashback comes, everything clicks into place with horrifying clarity. This is acting at the absolute highest level. Technical mastery, emotional truth, and complete commitment to material that required Meryl to go to dark places most actors couldn't access. Sophie's Choice earned Meryl her 2nd Oscar and established her as the definitive actress of her generation. This is the performance that directors reference, that acting students study, that defines what's possible when talent meets material that demands everything. Meryl Streep has been excellent in dozens of films, but Sophie Zawatowski represents her absolute peak. This is what mastery looks like. This is the GOAT. So which level Meryl movie are you watching this weekend? And which performance do you think is actually better than Sophie's Choice? Comment below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for more rankings that prove some actors exist on a completely different level.